Welcome back, everyone. A new day is upon us, and with that new day comes episode 22 of the Grunge Bible podcast. My name is Chris Salona. I am joined, as usual, by Ethan Shalloway. Ethan, today's Monday for us recording this. How's your Monday so far?
Monday, into the flood again, as they say.
Same old trip.
You know, it's good. I got home. I had 6 hours of driving yesterday after a long weekend, so it was a long day. I was very tired, and I actually woke up and my boss had some. I woke up to a call at 6:20 when I was getting ready for work, and my boss had a truck problem, an alternator problem that he had to take it into the shop to get fixed. So I actually have the day off. That's why we're able to do this right now. And let me tell you, that was a great call to get this morning.
Oh yeah, nothing better.
I needed a personal day, as they say. Something where I got to debrief. I got to organize some things in my head, and for the next month, you even feel like you just kind of need to take some time. So I'm excited to be able to do that. And getting this done, in a sense, in the morning is pretty nice. Like we just talked about, it's kind of fun to do it bright and early. I got my coffee in my hand,
Yeah, I mean, what's better than that? I think this is the first time we've ever recorded in the morning. And I have to say, it's Monday. I had a busy weekend, but something about this morning, I'm feeling spry. I'm feeling ready to go. I'm not tired. And I had an interesting weekend as well. A pretty busy weekend. I ran in a half marathon yesterday. So we'll get into that a little bit, but there's some really big news in Grunge Bible land that we have to announce, and that is that we have a new member of the Patreon Grunge Bible supporting club, and their name is Pete. So Pete, wherever you are, thank you so much for choosing to support Grunge Bible. Got the notification last week after the podcast that Pete has decided to support us here, so we're really thankful for that. And Pete joins a legion of 22 individuals so far who have chosen to support Grunge Bible, support us in this podcast endeavor. And as always, that legion is led from the front by the 7 individuals of the top tier. And as you know, they are Sue, Release, Jade Mercado, Victor Schaefer, Alexis Shannon, Sonny Mashburn, and Shannon Gorgone.
The Great 22.
News. Yeah.
The Great 22. I like that. Pete, thank you so much. That's incredible.
Yeah, we like Pete.
And 7 at the top. Heck yeah, we do. Wow, big news. That's great.
Yeah. So
let's keep it rolling.
Yeah.
If we gain one every episode.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we're gonna be rolling.
Yeah. We'll have to make more episodes.
Exactly. So last week, I think one of the closing discussions that we had was in terms of my weekend. There were a couple of concerts that I was.
There was a few things up in the air.
Yeah, there were some variables. There were some things going on, and namely, this past Friday, Modest Mouse played in Boston. Then yesterday, Counting Crows were slated to play in Boston, and I was quite perplexed and was weighing my options as to which shows to go to. And turns out I'm a complete pogue. I'm a loser. I didn't go to any of the shows. I did not go Friday. Thursday, the day before the show, the tickets were like dirt cheap. They were like $20, and I was gonna go up there, and I was like, I'll just buy my ticket in the morning. And then the morning of the show, the tickets went up to like $70, and I had a hell of a day on Friday, and I missed the show. I didn't buy tickets. I didn't go. So I'm kind of bummed about that. I checked the set list, and thankfully Modest Mouse didn't play any of my favorite Modest Mouse songs. That would have been really a thorn in my side, but what did the set list look like? So was it a lot of new stuff?
It
was a lot from their new album, which came out earlier this summer. I mean, they played Float On, obviously, because I think they have to.
That's in the contract.
It's just part of the agreement. They played Ocean Breathes Salty as well. So
all right, sweet.
I mean, if they had played like Talking Shit About a Pretty Sunset, or they did play Trailer Trash, which sucks that I missed that. But
yeah,
they didn't hit any of the
positive,
whenever
negative.
I breathe out, positive, negative. Yeah, if they played that, I would have been so far in my bag today that I wouldn't have been able to even record this or talk about it. So I missed that one, kind of upset about that. And then yesterday, I ran a half marathon. It was incredibly humid. It was tough running conditions. I didn't run the greatest, and my plan was to see how I was feeling, and if I performed well, I was going to celebrate and go to Counting Crows show, because I know we love Counting Crows. I do. I don't care if anybody else doesn't. So after the half marathon, I ran it with a few of my friends. Naturally, we went out for some libations, and after you exert yourself, you're very dehydrated. If you have a few libations, you can kind of you can get down the road a little quickly. And I found myself in a position of peril, in the afternoon, like 2 p.m. I was like, I had completely forgotten about the show. And then you texted me, and you were like, "Are we going to a show tonight?" And it was like 5:30. The concert was in 2 hours. I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, you know what? Like that would be really hard to swing. Like I had sobered up sufficiently at the time, and I looked at the tickets, and they were like $80 a piece. I was like, "Fuck, I'm really tired."
Plus an hour drive, right?
Yeah, and parking up in Boston, which is always just a train wreck. So I neglected, to buy tickets earlier. And yesterday I decided, I was like, you know what? I was like, I missed Modest Mouse.
Damn.
I'm going to miss Counting Crows. So I missed the show.
0 for 2.
I was 0 for 2. But the reprieve came this morning where,
yes.
Same thing. I wanted to look up the set list and see if they played any of my favorites, just to really, pour that salt in the wound. And it turns out, unfortunately for the band, for everyone else who was supposed to attend, and for myself, they did not play last night. Evidently, a part of the traveling party, I guess maybe a roadie or something like that, tested positive for COVID. So Counting Crows canceled the show, and it was like 2 hours before the show. Like, people were in line and they canceled the show, so that always sucks. Wow. So they postponed it. I don't know when it's rescheduled to.
Imagine if you decided to go, bought the tickets, and we're an hour, or 45 minutes into your drive, and you got the news. You probably wouldn't even I don't know if you would. I mean, probably got an email, but
that honestly would have been worse than me missing the show, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, so now the nice thing now is, if they reschedule, I might be able to acquire a ticket, and
it might not be so difficult.
See Mr. Duritz in concert. And that was supposed to be their second show of the tour. I think they opened up in AC in Atlantic City on Friday night, and then they had Saturday off, and they were supposed to play Boston yesterday, but it didn't happen. So I guess we'll have to wait a little longer. So the hope springs eternal for me to be able to see my Counting Crows in concert. But I know, September is a pretty big month for me in terms of concerts that I'm going to. And I know, I think you have tickets you do have tickets to Modest Mouse, correct?
No, not yet. They
okay.
play. Yeah, they were the ones that I held off on buying as well, because I had just bought a couple other concert tickets. They're playing similar travel. It's an hour away in Huntsville, and I think it's a Monday night or something like that. So it's a week. I think it's a weekday. It's an hour away, but the tickets were pretty reasonable. I had them in the cart the first day that they were available, but like I said, I just bought some money, and I think I needed to hold off on spending more money. So
yeah, man.
I do want to revisit that and look and see where it sits in the calendar, because I really want to see them as well. But I wonder if the set list will kind of stay the same for the tour. So
I don't know. I feel like bands like that have been making music for 20, 30 years. I mean, their catalog is big enough that I love it when bands change it up. But obviously, when the new album comes out, they're pretty heavy into that material. And I think, once you get to that point, a lot of people just go to hear the old stuff. So that's got to be difficult as a band, to try to balance, because you're probably going to be most passionate about what you just made, and you're going to want to play that. And you got to balance it.
It's a little bit of both, because when you follow a band for a while, you've seen all their old stuff.
Yeah.
So you really want to see their new stuff. But then the people that haven't, like us, are like, we want to see the old stuff. And really, we should just solve it when there was the new stuff.
Yeah, and you got the people who've seen them 30 times. Like, well, where were you in 1998 when they were actually playing this when it was new?
Yeah, exactly. When they loved it, and it was like. It's like when I followed Dirty Heads around a lot, the new album would come out. We wanted to hear all of the new songs. We're like, play the new one, but man, they played this, and it was so funny because we've seen all the other songs and the other concerts, but there's a lot of people that want to see the hits that haven't seen it, and I find that interesting, and that's why following bands and being loyal is rewarding, because then you want to see those new songs. And this is a great segue into our next conversation.
This is something we have to talk about.
Yeah, this is really important. So this has been kind of it's been kind of brewing inside of the Grunge Bible camp for a long time, and it's the whole debate and discussion around primarily the Grateful Dead and Phish, but jam bands in general, and where we lie, and how do we consume these bands when we weren't there when it started. It's hard to kind of get in. Like, I feel like, it feels like I'm not allowed to be a Deadhead.
Oh yeah, I totally feel that way.
You feel like you can't really, but there's a part of me that really wants to be in, and then my cousins are huge Phish fans, so, and I think that we have to pick one or the other. You cannot take in both, right?
Well,
and there's so many.
Yeah, and the tough part about a band like Phish, or a band, I mean, we're like, all of their fans are connoisseurs, right? I mean, in a way, that's kind of like what Pearl Jam is. Like, it is not a casual undertaking to get into a band like Pearl Jam. They have 11 studio albums. They're prolific tours, and your average Pearl Jam fan is a pretty big fan. They may have seen him like 3, 4, 5 times on the low end. And I mean, upwards. I was just DMing with somebody on Grunge Bible who told me that they had seen Pearl Jam 31 times, for example. And we know of other people who have seen them 50 times, 50 plus. So it's not like getting into a band like, I don't know, I'll just cherry pick like the Black Keys or something. You could just kind of get into them and listen to them and be like, yeah, like I'm a fan. You see them and like, a band like Dead and Company or Phish or any jam band, I just feel like that is like, you have to put your life vest on if you're going to jump into those waters, and I don't think your compatriots out there will save you, because they don't feel like you belong, and I just think like jam bands and like your general rock band of like the like 4-minute just like tear your hair off, like, just riff songs, they're kind of diametrically opposed, and it's kind of like one of those things, like, I feel like you can't be both, but I kind of want to be both. I kind of do.
Yeah, and I think if you want to be accepted into the crowd, you have to jump fully in, because I think if you jump fully in, you have a better chance of getting like a hand, like someone giving you a hand to come and join. Like, if you want to join, like, you bet when you go to that first show, you better buy a concert poster, or you better print out the set list and put it in a little book.
You better buy the bootleg or something.
Yeah, you got to you got to go beyond just going to the show, because going to the show is posing.
Yeah, and like a band like Phish or the Grateful Dead or something, whenever I see, because I have some friends on Spotify who are like very big into those bands, and I listen on my desktop while I work, and you can see the sidebar where it shows what people are listening to, and I never see them listening to the studio stuff. You don't see it. It's all about the live music. So like that.
I thought you were gonna say I never see them listening to any other band. But,
well, that's true. That's also true. Like I have some friends, and that is quite literally all they listen to, and it's not both. And
that's what
they listen to Grateful Dead or they listen to Phish.
And that's what it takes to be a part of it. It's almost like if you want to officially be a part of it, you have to listen to like only Phish for the next week.
Like we'd have to go to like a training camp where like for a month we're like, all right, Ethan, we're only listening to live albums from the Grateful Dead or something, because there's quite literally, there's probably over 1,000 of them out there. And my question, how do you choose where to start?
Oh, dude, it's
just way too overwhelming for me, and I'm scared. I'm really scared. I don't know what's going on, and I'm scared.
I mean, exactly. I definitely love the, I love the date and place that the fans can spit out. Like when you ask them their favorite, you ask them their favorite song, and they're like, well, it's not so simple. Like,
it's not just a song. It was an intercession of heaven and earth on that day in Madison, Wisconsin in 1991.
Thursday, 1997. The band Phish played Farmhouse, and it was my first time hearing it, and it's my favorite version of the song ever. But I love the way that they've built up. The jam bands have built up this It's like I was explaining to you earlier. It's like an Easter egg hunt for songs and for listens, and to like be there when it happened. And so, like my cousins, I have two cousins that are just incredibly large Phish fans. One has seen him about 30 times. The other one's seen him about 100 times. And if you don't think that's a lot, think about. Did the math. 100 times is. I mean, they've probably been touring for, 30 years, maybe?
Yeah, probably about 30 years.
Okay, so 30 years. If you've been going since they've been a band, 30 years, that's 3+ times a year.
Yeah.
For 30 years.
Or if you're a little late to the party, if you've been seeing them for 20 years, that's 5 shows a year.
How many concerts do you get to a year? It's hard to get to, three, honestly.
I probably get to 5 a year. If I'm lucky. So for all of those 5 to have been Phish, I mean, and the best part is all in.
And the best part is usually those are back to back to back to back to back.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because a lot of these jam bands play fairly grueling schedules where they're playing. I mean, if they go on a U.S. tour, they're playing like 80 shows in that tour, and it's like they'll play 5 shows a week. And it's like. That's a lot. That's a lot for the band, and that's a lot for the fans of the band. And I just don't know where to begin with that. And I also want to get your opinion on this, because for better or for worse, we are grunge. We're grunge people, I guess, right? I mean, we kind of have to be with what's going on here. Are we allowed to be fans of jam bands? Is that something that's allowed?
It's a good, yeah.
Because fundamentally, you and I both agree, like, you can be a fan of whatever you want, but like, are we allowed as the grunge Bible?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think maybe we'll put that up to the people. Do you think that the followers are totally against jam bands? They probably, in a little bit, they probably are,
because there's some spheres of music
so different
that we've tried to spoon feed people over the years that they're just like, nope, this isn't gonna work. And
we'll never
like number one that I can think of is like any female singer covering a grunge song, people just for some reason hate. I don't agree with it. So that's a no-go zone. Any rock from like 2000 on is a no-go. And I think we've gotten some flack from Counting Crows. I get a lot of that because I post them a lot. That's a no-go. Greta Van Fleet's a no-go, so kind of the post-2000 thing. Jam
bands might be in there.
Jam bands might be in there, yeah. Because we have posted Phish a few times, and it's very lukewarm at best.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're allowed.
Is that going to stop us?
No, I don't think so.
No, all right. So we had this conversation a couple weeks ago where I went over to my cousin's house before I left, and he showed me his Phish book, and he has obviously him and his brother are going to 5 shows in AC at the end of the month in a row, and he has this book. He has every set list that he's seen, every date, and it's all lined up. And I just assume that every Phish fan has these binders of all the shows they've been to. Like when they're taking their young son, he's like 15, and I'm sure that they're going to hand him his ticket and they're going to hand him his binder with the set list after it's done. Yeah, and he's going to buy a poster for the first. They do poster art. That's one of the things I really do love about jam bands, and I mean most bands have good posters, but they're the Dead and Company and there's a big cult following for collecting these posters.
Same thing with Pearl Jam too. I mean, there's a lot of parallels because Pearl Jam fans and jam band fans are a lot more similar than I think they would like to believe. I mean, you've got your hardcore road warriors who have seen them dozens of times. They collect the merch. It's the same thing. It's like a scavenger hunt. I mean, how many times have we heard, we've read a comment of like, I've gone to 25 Pearl Jam shows, and like this is the one song that I still haven't heard that I need to hear, and you're just trying to check them off, and it's like the same thing.
And it's amazing because both of them, Pearl Jam and the Dead and Phish, and they, like I said, the fans are they're so focused on checking these songs off, and I love it. It's such a unique way to approach seeing concerts. It's totally different than it's a totally different, I don't know,
There's a lot of bands you go
and
and like they're gonna play the hits, and that's it.
Well, you just generally don't care about the set list because you're gonna see them once. But like when you follow along, they get so invested in like seeing it, and like it means so much. And I love it. And like obviously they don't play the same songs. Like the set list is always different,
right? And
that is really special. I really like that idea of like you never know what you're gonna get.
It's also a testament to how deep their catalogs are, because if people are that interested in hearing, the deep cuts or the B side from whenever, that's a testament. I mean, that must mean that there's not much filler out there, or they just love the band that they'll accept the filler,
What was it? So we're at a position right now where
we're at a crossroads.
We're at a crossroads. I've tried to get in, and I think I've just felt guilty because I've listened to both here and there, and I don't think I'm allowed to, and I need to decide: am I going to be a Deadhead or a Phish head? Is it a Phish head? How do they call themselves?
I have no clue, and this shows how lacking we are in this knowledge. I hope we're not offending anybody.
Yeah, so right there, I might just like excluded myself, and maybe, but I feel like those are the top two camps because I think that if you want to be a fan of, Widespread Panic, I think you're allowed to as long as you pick Phish or the Dead.
Those are like the grandfathers of the of the venture.
Well, I just talked to somebody the other week, and I asked, and he was wearing a Dead, and I was like, "Oh, what do you think about Phish?" And I got the classic like little look, and I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, He's like, the Dead were first. They created the formula, and it was just so organic. Everybody's kind of, building off of their formula and what they designed and all this. And like, that's why he's a purist. He's like, they were the first to do it. And he like can't get over the fact that other people, and I guess I get that, but I don't really understand that either. Well, that's the same thing.
You have people who are, big fans of the Grateful Dead that they don't really like Dead and Company, for example, or they don't. Worse, they don't respect them.
God forbid that they continue.
Right. God forbid that Bob Weir wants to keep playing music. Oh,
that man has played the most live. Most live
think
music
of all the shit
minutes
he's seen
ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. He's got to be it, because frankly most of them don't survive that long, and they don't tour that vigorously. I mean, he's been touring, he's probably been touring for 55 years or something stupid like that.
Probably since he was 12.
Yeah, honestly.
He probably was 12 years old playing it.
I wonder if it ever gets tiring.
Man. Yeah, I'm going to look up. There might be an interview with him.
Yeah, it's got to be lucrative financially. So, I mean, that'll keep you coming back to keep playing. But, there's obviously a lot of musicians out there that they tour because it's financially viable for them, not because they really want to be out there. I think you can kind of tell a lot of times, if somebody's mailing it in. But, I mean, you rarely do you hear of somebody who goes to a Phish show or a Dead and Company show or something like that where these bands have been playing forever. Rarely do you hear them express disappointment,
Yeah.
Like I have some friends, like I said, who are very big into that scene, and they're never disappointed. They're never disappointed by the show.
No, it's always the best show. It's always.
So is it one of those things where the lore kind of overshadows the objectivity of it? Because I think that's a big part of Pearl Jam nowadays. I just think the bands some of these bands just have so much lore. And so much just,
They can do no wrong.
Yeah, they can do no wrong.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much if you hear that one song that you've been waiting, it makes the whole night. And you're
exactly.
Set.
It doesn't matter. I mean, that was like the first
I've been going to 20 shows and I finally got it.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That was like the first Pearl Jam show we went to when they opened with Release, and that was the one song we wanted to hear. So to hear it at the beginning of the show, which was our first ever Pearl Jam show, I was like, they could have that if that's all they played, or if Eddie Vedder just like talked about bullshit for the next 3 hours, I would have been fine.
Actually, a little bit, yeah. Which, of course, he rambled.
He always does a little bit of that. You ever try to rip a Polaroid before?
yeah, exactly.
You can't do it.
There's a big old bouncer outside the baby doll.
But yeah, I don't know, and I'm trying to put off this decision as long as I can. Maybe we take a poll. Like I'll leave my jam band allegiance up to the listeners. Honestly, I'll let them choose for me. Well, first of all, they have to validate that we can be a fan.
Yeah,
I think we can. I think we can find some room.
I think it's I think it's honorable that we are ready to make that step and to get in and Phish actually played in Birmingham last week, and I was really
and you
tempted
didn't
to go. I was gonna go.
You probably thought you weren't ready, right?
I didn't know if I was ready. Well, we had just talked on the phone, and we wanted our first one to be together so we could have like the same genesis. So I was feeling really guilty about just going. And I would have went. I mean, I could have went solo. I was actually really, really excited for it. I actually I had worked a long day and then forgot about it, like you did the other day. So, But I really was tempted to go, but I would love to have our first show be together because the cat's out of the bag. We are leaning towards being Phish guys. I just want to put that out there.
I'm skewing towards the Phish. Trey Anastasio. I'm skewing towards him.
Yeah, because I think you have a really close friend that's a Phish head, and obviously my cousins are. So we have. If we needed people to go to concerts with, that would really love it. So
it's all about the fellowship.
Yeah, actually, my buddy Nick he's going to see the Dead 3 nights.
Yeah,
the Dead and Company,
I have
3
a
nights
friend
in
who's
LA.
doing the City Field run. I think they play 3 shows. So
So the door is open. Both doors are open.
Both doors are open. We're just standing in the middle of the hallway. I don't know where to go. So hopefully we can receive some guidance from this show.
So one, we need to know where we should go and why. And then, where do we start?
Yeah, I don't know where because I feel like you can't just jump into the live repertoire because how do you begin? But then again, do you just stick to the studio stuff? I don't know. We need some guidance, so we're hoping that we receive some instruction. And actually, somebody that we can ask is the individual who did the artwork for this podcast, Brendan Acton. He's a big Grateful Dead and Deadhead fan, and I think he has some experience designing some merchandise for them as well. So he might be a good contact that we can give a ring and see where we should go with all of this. But I'm excited to hear, I'm excited to learn. I'm excited for the journey.
Yeah. So that's our big. That's been weighing on us for about a month.
Now. It's been weighing on us. Another thing. Going back to last week's podcast, we did the listeners a great disservice last week because obviously, as we've spoken about, there's not a tremendous amount of new stuff going on in the genre of grunge outside of touring and the occasional album. And we dropped the ball last week because 2 weeks ago, Jerry Cantrell's new single had yet to come out, and we had spoken about it. And then last week after it came out, we didn't mention it at all. We didn't give any insight, give any first thoughts. So I think we have to talk about Atone, which is the new single.
We have to atone for our sin that we did last week of not talking about Atone.
Yes, we have to give our penance right now. And I guess Ethan, what's the first impression? This is the first solo music from Jerry Cantrell since 2002. What do you think?
All right. Initial gut reaction, I listened to it a few times through, and I thought it was 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm going a little bit lower, maybe 6. I liked it. I didn't love it. I think I didn't love I didn't quite love the guitar and drum. Kind
of like that country vibe it has to it a little bit.
Kind of country, and it was very steady the whole time, which maybe was there was it was a little bit, I don't want to say repetitive or something, like the music was just a little bit, I don't know. But the lyrics I thought were really good. I really loved. I mean, Jerry sounded great.
Mm-hmm. His voice is really good. Ageless, isn't it? It's really
it's the same.
Incredible.
And that's what I was gonna say. Listening, it sounded exactly like
because people
all
say
the stuff we love with the band.
Yeah, and people say that a lot about Eddie Vedder. I mean, but his voice is aged. I mean, your voice is obviously going to age from your 20s to your 50s, and people said that a lot about Chris Cornell. But obviously, his voice changed a lot. Jerry Cantrell has been so remarkably consistent for the last 25 years. 30 years even, going back to the facelift days. I agree. I'll put it this way. I liked it. I love his writing. I loved his lyrics.
Yeah.
I love his delivery of the vocals. I will say if that turns out to be my favorite song from the record, I'll be a little disappointed.
And surprised.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I think about Jerry. Like, he's got some other things up his sleeve on this album that are going to be, I think that are going to come through in a big way. And yeah, it was definitely interesting. Just kind of like the way that he went about it. Obviously a little different. And I think a lot of times people tend to equate, a new release from Jerry Cantrell with like, oh, it's going to sound like Alice in Chains. But it's like, I'm glad it doesn't in a way.
Yeah.
It's kind
but
of.
He had, like you said, you had his voice, which is ageless, and it had like the kind of like the drawn out, like, I don't know, vibrato, is it, or whatever? His voice kind of like shakes. I don't know. Like, he had classic Jerry in there, which is very important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So his new album is called Brighten, and actually I have the track listing from the album right here. So I'll go title by title here, and we'll kind of see what we might expect from this album, which is coming out in late October 29th. So the first track is Atone. The second one is the title track, Brighten. The third track is called Prism of Doubt. So that's kind of exciting. Number 4 is Black Hearts and Evil Done. Number 5 is Siren Song. Number 6 is called Had to Know. After that, we have a song called Nobody Breaks You. And then the 8th track on the album is going to be called Dismembered. And then number 9 is a cover of Elton John's Goodbye, which was off Madman Across the Water from 1971, which obviously had Tiny Dancer on it, which everybody knows. But I'm excited to hear his spin on an Elton John tune. But overall, this is like right up the alley.
7 through 10. That 7 through 10 sounded like it was going to be pretty good.
Nobody Breaks You, Dismembered. I mean, and I'm excited about Black Hearts and Evil Done. I mean, there's just something about Jerry and how he writes songs that just lends itself so well to those kind of heavy songs of doom almost. So I'm really excited for that. I mean, same thing when I heard that the first single was going to be called Atone. I mean, that sounds like it's right in Jerry's wheelhouse, and by proxy it's right in my wheelhouse. But yeah, I mean, I liked Atone. I'm really excited for the album, and I'm hoping that some of those other songs that we just mentioned kind of scratch my Jerry Cantrell itch a little bit better than Atone did.
Yeah. I'm sure we will. I think that well, maybe when we get the full album together, it'll all make more sense, and a few more listens, everything changes. I've been wrong before.
Yes, we've been wrong very frequently. I'm wrong all
we
the
don't
time.
need to go it. Yeah, we don't need to get into it right now. So I don't need to go down that hole.
Without further ado, we'd like to thank everybody for supporting us. We're not going to talk about our wrongdoings as there are many
not
of them.
today.
Yeah, maybe we could have an episode about every time we fucked up. But yes, anyways, thank you all for listening. Obviously, we're in a nice groove now, and just wanted to send our appreciation out to everyone who's listening, everyone who's supporting. As we said, thank you once again to Pete for joining the Patreon. Thank you to the individuals who have purchased merchandise recently. I can't see who you are. All I can see is that the purchases are coming through. So that's really great. That means a lot to us that you want to support us and rep us, with a sticker, with a shirt, with a hat, etc. So all of those links, if you're interested in supporting us, are available on grungebible.com. The homepage has some links to all of those avenues. That leaves one more thing for today, and that's the song of the week. And Ethan, is there a song currently in your life do you feel the need to share with the populace?
I think so. Let me quick pull up so I can get it exactly correct, because it's actually a live performance. So
okay.
I need to make sure it's probably the closest thing that I have to a jam band allegiance, and I'm actually, as you know, a big Dave Matthews Band fan.
Totally.
Which is its own thing, and doesn't quite live up to the Deadheads or the Phish people, but I just kind of I've seen Dave Matthews. I really enjoy him. But I was on my drive home. I love listening to live music, and I usually go through some Dave stuff, and Dancing Nancy's the live version at the Blossom Music Center in where is it? Oh yeah, Cuyahoga Falls.
Ah,
in
okay,
Ohio.
yeah, and over in Ohio.
Which I've seen
You've seen the
Dave
Foo
Grohl
Fighters
play
there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was 2013. So the June 1st, 2013 version of Dancing Nancy's, and
Nice.
it's really, really good. It's like 10 minutes long, and the ending is just a beautiful array of instruments coming in and out, and so there's a lot of violin, and there's just a lot of like high points and stuff, and it's just really such a good finish to the song. First half is good too, but the last like 5 minutes are just excellent. So I put that on. It was perfect for my drive. I needed it. Good old 10-minute block, knocked out. So
oh yeah, that's excellent. It's funny, we're on fairly parallel trains this week with our song of the week, because if I have a jam band alliance, it would be. I mean, they're really not at their heart a jam band, but as their careers have gone on, they've definitely dipped their toes in the water. And that's the Black Crowes. I'm a huge Black Crowes fan, and lately I've been on a really big kick of them, and it's taken every bone in my body to keep myself from just posting the Black Crowes on Grunge Bible. But I know small doses. But so Chris Robinson, the lead singer, is very, very influenced by the Grateful Dead and Velvet Underground and different bands like that. And my favorite thing about them is like they'll take their songs that they cut in the studio and they perform them. They just turn them into these great jams, which I know a lot of bands do. But one in particular that I have been fanatically seeking out different live versions to listen to the last week. I'll just go through the years. I'll pick a year. I'll put the concert in and hope that the song's on the set list. And that is Thorn in My Pride by the Black Crowes. But additionally, it's not on Spotify, so we'll just have to find another one to put on the playlist. But my favorite version of it is from the 30th of June, 2013 at Hard Rock Calling at Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park in London in the United Kingdom. And they played about an hour set, a part of this festival. And I think Thorn in My Pride was their second to last or third to last song. And it's like a 12-minute jam.
I was in London?
Yeah, and they played to like, it looked like 100,000 people. It was in 2013, right before they broke up for like the second or third time. But yeah, it's
that's incredible.
It's so great. Yeah.
I would say that's incredible. My song was June 1st, 2013, and yours was June 30th, 2013.
Holy shit.
It's in the same month.
The beginning of the end of the month. Oh my goodness.
And that was right when I graduated too.
No shit. Yeah.
I could have been at this show in Cuyahoga Falls. I mean, that was probably only
far from you.
No, you could have been in London.
Yeah, absolutely. 16-year-old me could have
same
bought.
Exact month.
That's unbelievable, and same kind of segue of a jam bandy type thing. And this one's great because like the studio version of this song is like 5 minutes, and it's great. But like when they play it live, it turns into this 12-minute. Like Chris Robinson gets the harmonica out, and he's a really good harmonica player. And it's just I just love jam. Like
you said, it's not on Spotify.
It's not on Spotify. I'll try to find an adjacent version, but this one's really special.
Honestly, that's the problem. You can't replicate the.
No, you can't do it. You know, like how do you get into this? And I love trawling through YouTube. I do this with Pearl Jam a lot, and I have been doing it with the Black Crowes a lot. Like if I really like a band, I will trawl through to find different versions of like my favorite song. I've done it with Springsteen. I've done it with Counting Crows. I do it with Soundgarden too, but yeah, I've been doing that a lot with the Black Crowes, namely Thorn in My Pride and Sister Luck. Those are like my two favorite Crowes songs, and I've been
that's awesome.
Found one that I had to share with everybody today.
Perfect. Well,
we're on parallel trains.
Yeah, I would say that tied in the episode, that tied in everything. That was about as ideal as it gets for Song of the Week.
Yeah, man.
So that's great. Yeah, that just set us up for a great week. This podcast just set us up for an awesome week.
Yeah.
We're going to have jam band vibes the whole week.
Yeah, and wherever you are listening to this currently, whether it's the end of the week, whether it's the weekend, or whether it's, the middle of the week, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And you know what? Get out of your comfort zone a little bit. Throw on a jam band or two while you're working. I mean, pass the time. And when these bands, when they have a song that's 23 minutes long, I mean, you listen to a couple songs and there's half your work day, Mm-hmm. So just throw them on, listen. The best part about jams is you can kind of, each segment of the song, just pick out a different instrument to listen to and just zero in on that. Like listen to what the drummer's doing, listen to what the rhythm guitarist or the bassist is doing. I love doing that. You really can appreciate the music a little bit more when you do that. So that's my tip of the week, I guess, which is not a segment that we do, but I'm going to get on my high horse and tell people what they should do.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
All right. Well, that wraps us up for episode 22, correct?
22, yeah.
Thank you again, Drew. Thank you for editing. And everybody else, thank you for listening. And Chris, thank you for doing this with me.
Absolutely, Ethan. It's always a pleasure. Like I said, kind of a different vibe sitting down in a morning to record this. And I kind of like it. I like this. We should do this again next week.
I think we will. All right, guys. Take care, rock and roll, and have yourself a jam band week, you know?
Absolutely. Be well, everybody. We will talk to you next week.